Hello, this is Pastor Bob at MarriageHelp.com. We just finished the introduction to the deepest fears that we will have between us as husband and wife. But today's lesson is about the deepest fear of the men. Scripture tells us that men's deepest fear is the fear of being unworthy of respect, being a failure, a loser, a dork, someone who is unworthy of respect or approval from their peers, from their companions, but most of all, from their spouse. There is nothing that drives men any more than that deepest fear. I remember years ago sitting down on a hearth in front of a nice warm fireplace, a man I'd never met before, and we hadn't been there more than 30 or 40 seconds. And he turned to me and he said, "Boy, I'll tell you, my 6th grade teacher," and he called her by name, "would sure be amazed to see me sitting here. She told me in the 6th grade I was never going to amount to anything." And then he went through and told me all the things that he'd accumulated and done in the 70 or so years since that teacher had said that. And I thought to myself, that was a very important exchange that he had back in grade school, and it was a foundational point in his identity. In the years since, I've found that happening over and over again. It happens all the time. And if we recognize that that fear of failure, that fear of never amounting to anything, being too stupid, too slow, too dumb, too fat, too ugly, a nothing, drives men all the way through every moment of their lives. Now, there's only one way to get rid of that fear, and that is to have the respect, the approval, the admiration, the honor, Scripture calls it, of someone that they really hold to be very important. Now, if a man doesn't receive that from his wife, he's going to find it from somebody else. He's going to become the most successful businessman that's out there. He's going to become a respected community leader. He's going to become a respected athlete, or he's going to become a very crafty individual that can do things that people approve of or validate or are impressed with. There are some men who just don't have the skills and the talents to do that. And so you'll find that they even begin to slip into that role. You remember the TV series Cheers, where there was one man who sat right on the stool in the corner of the bar, and everybody knew his name. And they'd all come in and they'd all wave at him as he sat there, because that was his way of being recognized, his approval. He was the one who was always sitting on the same stool. We have needs within us, and if we have to, we'll get those needs met in groups outside of the marriage and outside of the family, even to the point of being recognized as one of the most bad individuals. If we can't make a name for ourselves, can't be recognized as a good individual worthy of respect. I remember the movie Bonnie and Clyde from many years ago, and there was a fellow that they'd hooked up with who only rode in the back seat of Bonnie and Clyde's getaway car. But he had respect because he had hooked up with somebody that was really recognizable, really important. And so he got some of the respect of being in Bonnie and Clyde's gang. If you can't get respect one way, if you can't get approval from somebody that you love, you're going to find it from somebody else. And it becomes very destructive if we don't listen to what the rule really means about loving you as a person with all of your fears and with all of your frustrations, and finding a way to take care of you. Many women will simply say, "Oh, my husband's such an egotist. He's always thinking about what someone thinks about him, or what someone approves of, or what someone would say about him." That's his deepest fear. That's what drives him, and it has been since he was a child, and it will be that way until he breathes his last breath. Listen to what it means. He is looking to his wife to be the one who will say to him, when he comes in from that terrible job that never makes enough money, I can't imagine how you did it again. You went through another day of terrible conditions with people who don't like you. You went down there and you slugged it out for a whole day. And I just don't know how you did it, just to take care of us. You're an amazing guy. Instead of complaining because the paycheck wasn't big enough, instead of complaining because he came in the house and got dirt on the carpet, instead of complaining because he left his clothes laying around, instead of complaining that he didn't get cleaned up before supper and his fingernails are still dirty, if he has a wife that looks at him and says, I am so proud of you, you went out there and you put your life on the line to take care of us, he will grab that lunchbox the next morning and he'll go right back out there and do it again. Year after year after year, because his deepest and most fundamental need is being met. He is respected by the person who loves him the most. The deepest fear of men, the fear of failure, not being worthy of respect, to have been a nothing after all of the years of life. You have a chance to change that. You, as his wife, his spouse, his marriage partner, have a chance to make his life worthwhile, because you have the position of being the one who can make him feel like a real man. Thank you for watching MarriageHelp.com. And if you will, just follow through to the next one that will be the basic fear of women. And then we'll have one concluding one on these basic fears that will follow that. Thank you very much.